Though one may be overpowered by another, two can withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken.
Welcome to another Strength to Strength Roundtable. Our goal is to once a quarter have these. We haven't always got that done. Our last one was back in August. And so today we're excited to meet here as an admin team along with an invited guest. Phil, welcome here. I'll be introducing Phil here shortly. And then later in the call, he'll be sharing about a project he's involved with. The rest of us is the admin team here at Strength to Strength. Our vision at Strength to Strength is this: inspire flourishing communities of faithful Jesus followers around the world. As we look at a destination, the big vision, the big why of this ministry, and it is that we want to see communities of believers. And part of our mission, part of what we do is pointing people to those communities, to those churches. And in the last year, there's been a big initiative here with Glenn and some other brothers putting together a whole database of churches from around the world. That's at churchindex.org. Check that out. But we also interact with seekers and help them find churches. That's really an important part of this ministry. So our mission statement goes like this: advance Jesus' kingdom by assisting the church in earnestly contending for the faith that was once for all delivered to the saints, through tackling thought-provoking topics, by stimulating candid discussions, and by sharing faith-building testimonies. And we do this by providing multimedia resources, including podcasts, videos, books, and then, like I mentioned, and by pointing people to local communities of believers. So thank you for joining here today. Welcome to our listeners. We're at the end of a year. And as we look back this year, we are amazed at how God has provided for this ministry and has given us the privilege of partnering in a small way with what He is doing in the world. And so, a couple things we're going to look at today. We're going to talk about some of our books going on here. We have Glenn will be sharing about a new book, some courses that we're partnering with SALT Christian Aid Ministries and bringing to the market. We're also doing a sale. We'll discuss that here shortly. And then Sam is going to be sharing about a conference that is happening in Europe. I believe it's called Kingdom Connect. Is that right?
That's correct.
Sam?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So it's like a Kingdom Fellowship. Some of our listeners have been to that, but it's a Kingdom Fellowship for Europe with Strength to Strength and Anabaptist perspectives and sound faith and followers of the way. There's been a lot of interaction with seekers and with kingdom people in Europe, kind of a growing movement there. And so this conference is going to be a way to kind of bring those together. There'll be speakers there, times of fellowship. Anyhow, Sam will be telling us about that here shortly. And then also, Phil. So Phil is, if you remember, a year ago we did a walk the talk spotlight on kingdom work, and Phil there shared a vision for a cafe ministry in the city of Creel, Mexico. And Creel is kind of back in the mountains, as I understand. It's kind of at the trailhead for the Copper Canyon. And there's an Anabaptist church plant happening there, and they had this vision to start a cafe. He's going to be updating us on that. Some exciting updates. I think that your cafe name is La Cosecha, right, Phil? I love that name. It means the harvest, I believe, in English. So he'll be updating us on that and sharing ways that you can partner with this work there. And then in wrap up, Wendell will be sharing a little bit about our Sacred Roots series that we have coming. So that's kind of our agenda in this round table here. And so let's go ahead and jump into our books. So a year ago, here at Strength to Strength, we kicked off our first book. This book, Jesus and the Mennonites by Hector Troyer, forward by Dean Taylor. And we also had an online store to accompany that. So it was our kind of almost exactly a year ago. We kind of brought this to the market, let our listeners know about that. In that time, in the last year, we've sold over 7,000 books, which includes all the books in the store, plus other books we published, which currently stands at four. We had a book by Glenn Martin called Righteous Lot, a really scholarly book. So take a chance to read that if you can. And then we also had a children's book by Sherilyn Shirk called You Are Precious in His Sight. We sold lots of that one. People were using that for ministry work, taking it to foster agencies and schools and children's like Bible clubs and stuff like that. And then also our most recent one is this book by Greg Weaver called A Great Nation, Rescuing Abraham from Dispensationalism. So those are our four books we published ourselves. And then plus we have lots of other books on the store as well. So Glenn, go ahead and tell us about this new kingdom-focused finance courses that we have that'll be coming out here in the next month or so. So go ahead, Glenn.
Sure. Yeah. So like you already mentioned, we do have courses coming available shortly. This is actually produced in collaboration between Strength to Strength and the SALT team that's part of Christian Aid Ministries. So together, we are bringing this to the market shortly. They have been working on development for years on this. And I'm going to maybe just show you a little bit what we have coming. There's actually a dedicated website for this that I'm going to share on my screen here right now. All right, so what you'll see here is the website for SALT Books. And again, that's the website is saltbooks.org. And you can look this up. But on this website, you'll be able to see what's coming. The course consists of 4 tracks, and each of these tracks is to meet a specific audience. So track A is for those in chronic need, track B, local community, C, local church, and track D, young adult. So just as an example, let me just click on this one here, maybe for young adult. And right here, you'll see that it's little example of that. Actually, Bryant, would you want to hold up? I think you have a physical copy with you there.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Right here. So Spiral Bound. I think this book is over 400 pages long. This is a participant guide. There's also, of course, facilitator guides as well for the facilitators of this course. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Thank you. So like was already mentioned, there's those 4 tracks, and each one has a participant guide and a facilitator guide. And these are large books. Like Bryant mentioned, about 400 pages on that one. I think that's about the average of what they run there. So yeah, that's going to be coming up here shortly. These are actually right now being shipped to us on a container. I have a picture right here of what that looks like. So we're going to be receiving these in the next, yeah, we're expecting probably the end of January. So you can keep posted on updates. If you go to saltbooks.org, put in your email address, and we will keep you posted when these become available. There's also a Telegram group, Cloudbell group, that you can follow as well to get some updates on what's happening there. So yeah, we're looking forward to that and very thankful to the SALT team for their collaboration with us.
Sure. Yeah. So with these books, with the SALT team, what we're doing in partnering with them is helping raise awareness of this product to our listeners and to the Anabaptist Kingdom world, as well as helping provide educational material. And so we'll be doing some videos, bringing on people who are using the courses to really kind of help develop an understanding of best practices. And so, with SALT, which stands for, it's an acronym, Sustainable Accountable Lending Teaching Program. They've been working in all other parts of the world for years, helping people raise themselves out of poverty. So it's very focused on investing in people and helping people learn how to fish themselves, right? And so those same principles and methods have been incorporated into these courses. So a lot of experience, a lot of powerful stuff there. I thought it really needs translated into Spanish, so Phil can use it there in Creel. Yeah. Okay, Glenn, thank you so much for that. So again, we'll keep updating it on some of our main channels, but like we said, we have a website dedicated to these books. We'll also have those books on our Strength to Strength bookstore as well. But because of really wanting to create kind of a center for information, for resources, for education around these courses, we developed this other website, and that was Glenn's work. So great work, Glenn. Okay, so we talked about our new books, our Salt and Light, and finally, for the month of December, we're going to be doing a 10% a discount on our store for the rest of the month. So if you don't have access to the internet, you can email us at contact@strengthtostrength.org, and we can email you a flyer for all of our books. So feel free to reach out to us there. Also, orders of $45 or more get free shipping in the United States. So that would that's something we just offer, across the board. Justin's there, our admin here on the call. He lives in Ontario. He actually stocks our books there, and ships in Canada, with which really helps bring down the cost of shipping. So you can just hop right onto our store, place an order, and if it's a Canadian address, and then you automatically get given those better rates. So please use that resource as well. Okay, thank you so much. Any questions for Glenn there, specifically on salt and light stuff?
Hey, Glenn.
Okay. Yes,
sorry.
go ahead.
When do
Go
you,
ahead.
maybe you mentioned this, when do you think that this will be on the market?
Yeah, so we don't have a hard date yet, but we're expecting maybe right around January 31, plus or minus.
Excellent.
Yeah, okay. All right. So
But I
let's
should just mention that
Yeah.
we're accepting pre-orders, so you can actually order today, and then we'll get it shipped to you as soon as it's available.
Sure. And one of the things with these courses is we have some pretty significant discount on packages. So the goal really with this curriculum was to bring it to market at the best price possible, because we see people using it more in possibly in groups. And so we have some pretty significant discounts there for, is it called packages, Glenn? Is that the word that we use?
Bundles.
Bundles. Thank you. Bundles. Yeah. All right, great. So Sam, let's turn to you now. Tell us about the Europe conference.
Absolutely.
And are you going to buy us tickets to go to that?
I might pull some strings. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah. Give us a little bit of a history of how this came together, and talk to us a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Kingdom Connect planning is in the works, and we just had a in-person meeting here in State College yesterday. And a little history behind it is through these platforms like Strength to Strength, Anabaptist Perspective, Sound Faith, Followers of the Way, through David Berceau's literature, there's been a lot of people reaching out over the years and interested in the content, interested in connecting with people who are humble, obedient followers of Jesus Christ. And so I think out of that grew a burden to connect these people. And our vision with this conference is to bring Kingdom Christians together in Europe for fellowship and encouragement by hosting a conference that brings teaching, worship, enduring friendships. The scriptures encourage us to comfort one another, edify one another, and bear each other's burdens. And that's the heart behind this. So it was born out of a desire to make these connections. And our prayer is that by bringing these followers of Jesus together, that we can be a catalyst for flourishing communities of believers all over Europe. And we plan to have times of teaching, lots of prayer times, worship, focus on making connections. We'd also like to have times of Q&A, and a lot of open discussion. Our goal is for attendees to go away strengthened in their faith, and also knowing that they don't walk alone, and hopefully make some good friendships that can be a blessing to the body of Christ as they go back to their home communities. And the location and the specific dates will be announced in January. And if you're interested in information as it comes out, We will have a website that will be live in a couple of weeks. So that'll be kingdomconnecteurope.com. And if you would like some information, feel free to send me an email at info@kingdomconnecteurope.com. So again, the website it won't be live for another 2 weeks or so, and that'll be kingdomconnecteurope.com. And then for information as it comes out, info@kingdomconnecteurope.com.
Sure. Great. So, Sam, can anyone from stateside just come there? Because you could potentially have quite a lot of people coming, especially maybe another question too is 2025. That's the 500th year anniversary of the Radical Reformation or the kickoff of the Anabaptist movement there. Is that the reason you're doing it? And yeah, so can anyone come and are you trying to put it next year because of that?
Right now, registration will be limited. It is our first time doing this, and we're not sure how many people will come from Europe. And looking at locations, it seems like, hundreds of people is not a huge option, depending on what kind of location that we find. So right now, we're limiting registration for that. And if we do actually open it up, we'll make an announcement. If we open it up to just anyone registering. I don't believe that'll happen this year for Americans or people on this side of the water. But we would like a strong presence of Anabaptist Kingdom Christians who can make connections with people in Europe as well.
Sure. So what your focus is for the people of Europe, not for
That's
the people
right.
of North America.
That's correct.
And so it's not like you're limiting registration from this side of the pond.
That's
and
right.
saying, please, everyone in Europe, come. And I understand too that you're really trying to make it as cost effective as possible.
That's correct. Yeah. We're working on that part of it right now. There might be a sign-up fee or a registration fee for that, but we have to work out some of those details yet. And as far as it being the anniversary of, the founding of Anabaptists, from January, what was it, 1525,
right?
500 years later. It just happens to be in 2025. We probably will have one talk on history and kind of make the connection with who we are and with Anabaptist faith, but also rooted in the historic faith. So not stopping in 1525, but connecting it to the historic faith, because I believe the heart of the Anabaptists was connecting to the historic faith as well. So it happens to be in 2025, and that's very interesting. I love history and Anabaptist history specifically. So it will be great to be in Europe, 500 years later, but that's not the focus of this event at all.
Sure. Any questions for Sam here from the other brothers? All right. So Sam, boy, I was going to ask you a question and I'm forgetting what that was. Oh yeah. So Sam was asked by the Strength to Strength board to be the representative on that team of brothers who are putting that on. And I believe there's also a brother from Europe helping as well, making this happen. And so it includes, for other ministries and churches and stuff like that, kind of working together to see this happen over there. Okay. Very well. Well, thank you for the update. Feel free to reach out to us, to our listeners, to us here. If you want more information, but as you heard, there's the website coming. If you're from Europe, and I know we have a lot of listeners out of Europe, consider coming. I've been part of a Kingdom Fellowship weekend. There's actually one in the West now, Kingdom Fellowship West as well. Maybe there'll be a Kingdom Fellowship in Mexico, Phil. a Kingdom Fellowship out Western Canada. I don't know. But anyhow, and this for 10 years we've been part of that, my family and I, and it's been a huge blessing coming together just under the banner of King Jesus and his kingdom, and it has made for so many rich relationships from all around the world and across many different church groups. And so I'm thankful for that. So exciting to see that happening. Sam, God bless you with your work there and making this happen. I know that I think you guys are kind of heading up looking for a facility as well. And so
That's right.
if anyone, any of our listeners from Europe have a facility suggestion, please let them know. So, all right, let's keep moving along here. Let's turn now next to Phil Reif. Phil, welcome back here. I know that we always have an invited guest to this, to our roundtable, just to add some spice. Oftentimes that guest is somebody who's connected in some way. I know that you are a listener of our talks, and you, like I mentioned earlier, shared on one of our Walk the Talk, Spotlight on Kingdom Work talks a little over a year ago on your dream for this cafe there. And so here we are, a little over a year later. Tell us what's been happening there.
First of all, thanks so much, Bryant, for having me.
You're welcome.
It's a
Privileged
privilege.
to have you here.
And first of all, I want to say that Bryant is part of Extend Cafes, and they have been a huge blessing in this journey. And so we have really been working closely with them. So a year ago, I shared about we were looking for a venue, and there was this abandoned property with a real sad history we realized was for sale, basically next door, and it checked off the list for location, what we were looking for, and but it was just a really big. It looked really big, and Extend came along beside us, and we were able to share here with Strength to Strength, and God provided in amazing ways. And the property is now purchased, and we're looking at the next phase, and that is actually fixing up the property. Fixing up the building. We've cleaned up the property; it needed a lot of that, and fix up the building, and do the build out of the equipment, and get up and going. And so that's, in a nutshell, is where we're at since last year. And so God has opened doors. Some things have not gone as fast as what we thought, but when I look back, over the past year, a lot has happened, and so it's been exciting. So that's a little bit where we're at right now.
Sure. And this property was not just a third of an acre. In using acres measurements, how many acres was it?
Yeah, so it's approximately a 3-acre property.
Okay.
And so that made it, we weren't looking for anything that big. We were looking for a building, but it was all being sold as one. And so that was, part of the deal. How do we make this work? And
Sure.
But what that has done is that's allowed some property that we can use for ministry purposes at this point. And so it's opened up some other doors as well.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So you shared on here a year ago about this vision to purchase this property and rehabilitate this old building that was used for some really dark, ugly things. And an investor stepped forward and bought that property there, and so now you have it. So tell us a little bit more, kind of what's been going on with that, and some of the vision for La Cosecha Cafe.
Yeah. So basically, we've been working with Extend, and Extend has brought in their in-house Anabaptist financial advisor. So we've been looking to them. So what should the next steps be? How do we make this a viable cafe? We are planning on making it a for-profit business, and that really comes from what Extend has encouraged us to do. And so how do we do that? So AF, their advisor, has kind of laid out a little bit of a plan, and the other majority owner has stepped forward and said, I want to work together with that plan, and he's put out a proposal. And so basically, we're laying out a brochure that you'll be able to get if you go to Extend's website that kind of lays out the plan. It's a little bit, too much maybe to share everything here, but that's what we're working at. So it feels like there's just a great opportunity in front of us. It looks big. God's going to need to work, but we're excited to be at this place.
Mm-hmm, sure. So oftentimes, kind of in a quote foreign mission work or missionary work, we tend to think nonprofit. But obviously, I've been working with you, so I know some of the why behind this. Of why would you do a for-profit So could you talk a little bit about that, the for-profit idea here first for La
Sure.
Cosecha, and then
Sure.
maybe and even give us a vision too for the cafe. I would love to hear you
Absolutely.
share that.
Sure. Well, I'll first, I guess, share the vision. So our written vision statement, I'll share that, but then I'll expound on that just a little bit, is to provide a third place for the community to relax, savor excellent cuisine, study, make connections, and search for truth, and for our employees to feel honored and led towards growth. So that's our written statement. It goes beyond that because our vision is also how can our family be involved in the community, in ministry, and we see that as a way they're very excited about what we're doing, a way that we as a family can be involved in the community, can continue to build relationships, and as far as making it for profit, I'm learning as I go, but I'm learning from you all as well. And my understanding is that a for-profit business in the long term is much more sustainable. So it takes a lot up front, and that's kind of where we're at right now. But long term, there's sustainability, and that's really what we want. So we'd rather do the hard work now and accept some help, but be able to be sustainable long term. It also forces us, and yet it is our vision to actually reach into the community for employees and that type of thing where we're actually working side by side with the community versus maybe just taking volunteers from the states to operate a nonprofit. So it's really business as mission.
Sure. And one thing too that does is it gives you a very authentic presence in the community as a business owner. You're here making a living just as your neighbor down the street.
Absolutely. That was the other point there.
That gives you a very authentic presence there. And then, like I said, you'll be hiring local people to work there, and so it's very much of a normal relationship, which in the long run you can really go the distance with that. And then, of course, you mentioned, so with a for-profit, bigger investment up front, get rolling, but in the long term, it becomes sustainable. And really, and often nonprofits are the opposite of that. Is in the long run, they require more funding. So, so you're headed toward doing a for-profit. So really, why don't you just share a little bit here? What are some of your needs there? Obviously, financial need is one of those. So feel free to kind of lay that out a little bit, and then point people where they can go to get more information on this.
Sure. So I guess we'd first ask that you pray for this because God has worked in amazing ways, ways that we didn't initially, we wondered if it was possible, but here we are. He has worked, and so we ask that you pray that he continues to work as he sees fit. It hasn't all gone exactly as we thought, and yet we see God working in ways that we wouldn't have imagined. And so we ask you to pray for it. And I would say that, besides that, the biggest need is actually for funding to get the building fixed up. So I think I had mentioned we wouldn't have been looking for a project of this size. We were initially looking for a small building, get started small. But it just felt like God dropped this right in front of us. It was a place that really needed to be redeemed, and God really gave us that vision, and others have come on board with that. And so it is a bigger project than what we were initially, looking for. And so just, some financial help to get the building fixed up, to get up and going, would be a huge blessing. We have had numerous people say, hey, once you have the funding and you're ready to work, that they'd like to come down and give a hand. And so we are hoping to have some volunteers, and I think we have a fair amount that are interested already. And so we plan to use some volunteer labor, some local contractors, and of course do as much work as we can ourselves as well. And so, those are some of the bigger needs right now.
Sure. Yeah. So the financial part. So as Phil was mentioning, Extend Cafes, which I own Sower's Harvest. My wife and I own Sower's Harvest Cafe, and in the last 2 years, there's been several of us cafes working together to start an alliance, and this alliance is focused on new initiatives and helping equip them from bookkeeping to business planning to vision to culture to training on how to actually deliver the product. So that's been developing behind the scenes, and Phil actually was one of our first clients. It's a for-profit alliance again. The same thing there with Extend Cafes. It's a for-profit alliance. So Phil's been one of our first clients there. We've been helping him along with, as he mentioned, an Anabaptist financial advisor, helping us, business coach, really helping us with that. So it's been exciting to work with you, Phil, to see this vision, and actually, see this vision laid out. So if you go back to our talk a year ago, there's like a 15-minute section of that. We'll link it here on the website where this talk is, and in the description, whether it's on podcast or YouTube or wherever within Telegram, we'll put links here to kind of help you to go get more information, that initial vision that Phil lays out a year ago. And then over on our extendcafes.com website, you can go to his specific cafe, and there we'll have more information. We'll have a PDF that lays out the story, lays out some of the financial needs, lays out ways that you can give on the Extend Cafes website. There will also be some more information there as well. So feel free to reach out to any one of us, myself at Extend Cafes or Phil. That information will be there. So Phil, thank you so much for sharing here, for coming on here. Our vision is to see very faithful communities of Jesus followers, and I believe that business is one of those ways that we do that. Is how we develop these communities and make them sustainable, and help others to do a kingdom business. Many people in your part of the world have never experienced a workplace where it has the culture of Jesus, of his ways, and so to see you preparing to do that, dreaming of doing that, is exciting, and it's been a great privilege to partner with you. So, any questions from Wendell or Glenn or Justin for Phil before we turn to Wendell here on our next series? Okay, all right, Phil. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing that. God bless you and your family in that hard part of the world as you strive to be a light there. I have no doubt that you and your family are, and we'll be looking forward to seeing how God's going to answer these needs here. Okay, so over to you, Wendell. Tell us a little bit about Sacred Roots.
Hey, yes. So, Phil, great, really good to hear what's going on there. I love hearing that update, and also for the Kingdom Connect conference and the SALT books. This is good to hear. But I just want to give you a little update on our Sacred Roots series. This is ongoing, and it's going to continue throughout the next year, 2025. And so, it's Sacred Roots, rediscovering the ancient faith. And our line for that is humbly and lovingly rediscover the history of God's people in order to reground, renew, and retether our faith and practice. So we've got some upcoming talks on that. We have a talk on why study church history. Hopefully that doesn't have a date attached to it yet, but we have one on the birth and growth of the church, a tour of Acts by Finney Creel on December 14th. And that's actually an event with one in the afternoon as well, that Sacred Roots, the Apostolic Era. And then we have a talk by David Berceau coming up, Sacred Roots, Why Study the Early Christians. So that actually was the one. Sorry, that already happened. I'm looking at the series here. But I'm looking forward to continue in this series, and this is the year of 2025. It's going to be 2025 shortly, and that is the 500th anniversary of the Radical Reformation, a baptism that happened in Switzerland, baptisms that happened in Switzerland, and it's seen as the starting point for the Anabaptist movement. And yeah, as someone who's from that tradition, I've been really blessed being part of that, and we want to use this opportunity to point people to the ancient faith, and looking back even beyond 500 years, back to Jesus and to his apostles and early disciples. So yeah, anyone have questions about that? Go on our website, check that out, listen to the talks as they come out, and I hope you can be blessed and encouraged and challenged by it.
Amen. Yeah, thank you, Wendell, for that update on Sacred Roots series. You might have mentioned this, but it'll probably end up being running into next year this time, probably, till we wrap it up. So we're still building it out as we go, and we do have several other brothers who are advising us on that. David Anderson from Boston, he's a historian, as well as Stephen Russell from Faith Builders. So it's been neat to see those brothers helping us here on this journey, which hasn't been completed yet. I'm getting this set up. So, okay. All right. Well, it's time to wrap up here. Thanks to each one for joining us here. Thanks to our listeners. Thank you for your support of this ministry. We are a nonprofit. We're a 501c3 ministry. And so there's been people along the way who've donated to this ministry to help it make it happen. Thank you to those who have. And it is an option for you as coming to the end of the year to donate and get a tax-deductible receipt. Also, as we mentioned, we're doing book sales. One of our goals is to see our books be part of funding this ministry, and hopefully even making us fully supported through the books. So that's been exciting to see that happening. Like I said, we sold over 7,000 books. We weren't anticipating that, and so we continue to want to dream big as we work on this. Good morning, Phil Jr. Good to see you. All right. And yeah, so God bless you all. Thank you, brothers, for joining us here. To our listeners, go to our website, strengthtostrength.org. Feel free to email us at contact@strengthtostrength.org with any questions or input that you have. We just want to thank you for being part of this journey with us, and we want to especially thank God in his blessings in this year. All right. Grace and peace.
As iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend.